Gang, this is Andy over at Falco Canine Academy. I'm glad to be here with you on a very cold. I got my sweatshirt on. This is my high school that I went to just a couple years ago. I attended high school, and it's freezing right now where I'm at in Brea, California. It just does not make any sense. We should be nice and warm and blue skies today. But today is a very fortunate day for all of you. I'm going to be doing a double header today. At least that's the plan. I'm going to be doing one on this particular subject right here about this use of a police canine in Belmont shores. I will eventually I will share the link in the comment section so that you can go ahead and take a look at the video that I'm going to show you in just a minute, and a little bit about the story. The only reason I'm talking about it because there were some critics, even on the video when it's being shot, that what happened shouldn't have happened, that the officers, at least based on who was speaking, I don't know who that was, that the officers had used excessive force, which I'm going to talk about in just a minute. So, and then later on this afternoon, a question was brought up in the super secret bed bug detection dog private group that I have about some aspect of the training aid being used in one of our training tools, and the aspect of whether the odor will be soaked up into the wood in the training aid. So I'm going to be talking about that in a little bit later on this afternoon. I have a couple appointments, and I got to come back and do that. So let's get in to this video. I'm going to show the video here. I'm going to share it on my screen of the incident, and I'm going to go over a couple things here. So I'm going to go down. I hope this all works fine. Sometimes these things don't work perfectly well, but we're going to give it a shot and see what happens here. And we're going to go solo here. So it's the Long Beach Police Department. They respond to a call, and hold on, I gotta find. There it is. I gotta find the story here. And at least here on the KFI website, I talked to a couple of my friends at KFI and kind of told them my take on the whole thing. And so I'm going to be using their article. I'm not sure if the article is actually from somebody else. I'm not sure if Alex Razzo did it or not. But either way, a YouTube video is making the rounds as it shows bystanders yelling at Long Beach officers who shot a man with foam bullets and released a canine on him. Officers were originally called to the scene based on reports of a man walking down the street pointing a gun at passing vehicles. The gun was later discovered to be a replica. Now, when they arrived, authorities say the suspect did not comply with their orders. However, the video shows the man had his hands on his head and his pants were down, so he could be heard telling the officers he couldn't get on his knees. Eventually, the officers fired foam bullets at the man, and the crowd began their yelling, saying the police took it too far. The suspect, Joe Peterson, was taken to jail after being treated for minor injuries and was booked on suspicion of assault with a deadly weapon for the perceived threat with the replica firearm resisting arrest. So I'm going to go ahead and play this video here. And I'm going to end up stopping the video here. I believe you can still hear me. I'm not sure if you can hear the video or not, but it'll get to the video here very shortly. And I can't make it larger. For some reason, the screen's not allowing me to make it larger. So here it comes. So right here, oh man, cradola, that thing comes up and blocks it. So you got police officers to the right, you got the man to the left, and then there's a man that's standing there with a baseball hat on. He is one of the eyewitnesses that are standing there watching, and he's actually blocking the view of the suspect who's going to be hit with the foam bullets. And of course, when I come on live, the gardeners are blowing leaves out front. So sorry about that. So anyway, let's go ahead and start this play, and then you'll see the dog being sent on the man. So there on the left, you can see him, and the dog is now biting him. And then they move forward. And then they take the dog off and take him into custody. And they'll show the video again one more time. Let me just, this is in Belmont Shores. So walking in the middle of the street, pointing a possible handgun at passing vehicles. So here we go. See there, he's got his hands up, but he's flailing his hands. They're kind of up, and he's dropping them down. he is not necessarily, the article says he had his hands on his head, at least not on this part of the video. Does he have his hands on his head? His pants are down around his knees, but you can see him walking, right? You can see him walking and not necessarily complying with commands. All right. So they talk about the man being stripped down to his boxers, and you know, that the police possibly used excessive force. Well, let me go through a couple things here just really quick. Now, this is going to be a short Facebook Live on this subject because there's really not a lot to address. So number one, if you don't know this, I was a police officer with the city of Anaheim for 21 years. I have trained police dogs to bite and hunt down suspects for all those years, for 21 years at the police department. And then I have continued, and since I retired in 2005, I have continued to be a part of the police dog world, detection dog world. I testify in court cases involving police use of force with the canine and also detection dog issues. In spite of officers and police departments sometimes thinking that I'm some kind of turncoat because I look at these cases. They don't know that I see more cases where the handlers did perfectly, and the dogs are trained well and doing well, and I do more of that than testify in cases where the police did not do right. But I think a service to law enforcement, if I was a police officer and still in the canine unit, I would hope that somebody like me would look at my case and make a decision based on their knowledge and experience, and not with a bias of just trying to hang a cop, which the other experts, quite often, that's all they're all about. I have more cases where I say police did perfectly well. The dogs are trained awesomely, and the dog actually did exactly what he was supposed to do. Like in this case. So in this case, you have a man who you've been told as a law enforcement officer that he has a gun and he's been pointing it at vehicles when they pass by. Really, that's almost all you need to know, right? And so we arrive on scene. We try to tell the guy. It wasn't like they got out of their cars and sent the dog and then shot him with the foam bullets, or shot him with the foam bullets and then sent the dog. It's not like they got out and did that. You can see them talking to him and saying, "Hey, dude," and they know people are watching, right? Not that ever stopped a cop from doing something bad, but in this case, Long Beach is doing perfectly. They're telling the guy, and you can see there's enough officers that have gotten there that this has gone on for just a little bit, right? Enough time has gone by for the people to get their phone out and see everything that's going on, regardless if he has his pants around his legs or whatnot. That doesn't, because his pants around his legs, doesn't mean he can't pull the gun, which officers think he has, out and shoot them. Just because he has the pants around his feet, around his ankles, around his knees, doesn't mean that he can't harm the police officers with a handgun. It just does not make any sense. Number one, the gun, you must understand, is a deadly weapon. We've seen it over the last several months, how a gun can be used to kill people, right? Just to think of all of that. So officers come to the scene. They got a man in front of them who's clearly identified as the suspect. He is the guy they're looking for. They've told him, put your hands on your head, comply. And you can see in the video that he has moved and is moving when they're trying to negotiate him. That is problematic. Most common sense people with their wits about him, again, he could be crazy. That's not our problem at this time. He has a gun. At least we've been told he has a gun. And he's not complying based on his actions. He's walking around, he's moving around, he's doing a whole bunch of things that we've told him not to do. And at some point, a decision has to be made as he's moving about to what to do. Now, in many cases, if a canine isn't on site, and before we had less than lethal ammunition like foam bullets, the only alternative is negotiation. Sorry, I have to shoot you and kill you, right? There was nothing in between that we could use to kind of help us with the middle part. So having a canine on scene and somebody with foam bullets, you have those two things, because the alternative is killing the man. And so in this case, the foam bullets and then sending the dog is the appropriate action. And actually, that is what saved this man's life, because you're not going to walk up on a man from that great a distance who's not cooperating and his hands are kind of flailing about. You're not going to be able to make up that distance and walk towards him without cover, without any option, right, other than to kill him. right? If he drops his hands around his waist or goes down to pick up his pants, whatever that happens, you have to, as a police officer, you have bystanders, you have people behind you probably watching. You cannot allow this guy to fire off a single round. You can't allow him to do that. All right. And so now the other alternative is if they do shoot. Now they also have concerns with what's in the background. If you fire as a law enforcement officer, one of your duties is to know what is in the background. Because if you miss or the bullet goes through the person, where is that bullet going to end up? And so there's a lot that has to be considered when firing your weapon and choosing not to send the dog in the foam bullets just because it looks bad on a iPhone or whatever it is they were using to film this thing. So again, the appropriate action. Now, why both the foam bullets and the canine? Why not just one or the other? Well, in the case of a guy who's armed and dangerous, whether he has a knife or a gun, it is appropriate to hit him with the bullets first to kind of to disorient him, to give the dog a fighting chance to take him down. That would be the appropriate move, because again, if you don't distract him as the dog is making up that space from the handler to biting him, that guy can actually pull out the weapon and fire on the dog, and then the officers have to now return fire, and now you got a hail of bullets happening. Where if you shoot the foam bullets, you have an opportunity of kind of causing him to kind of go, oh, wait, that hurt. And now he's thinking about how much that hurts to be hit by those foam bullets. You send the dog, knock him down, and you're giving the dog a fighting chance. And you're hoping that you're going to buy some time so that you can get up on him and get a hold of his hands before he has a chance to find the weapon once he's on the ground. And then, then all the other stuff starts to happen. All right. So super, super important that you take all those things into consideration. So I hope that was helpful to all of you, and I hope that all makes sense as we go through it. So again, just want to make sure that was very clear. This is a really good use. This is kind of the textbook. This is the thing that you need to show people that why do we have canine? This is why we have canine. This canine saved that suspect's life. It saved the officers from having to kill somebody and have to deal with the aspect that they shot and killed somebody. It saved, the man possibly pulling out the weapon and firing and hitting a bystander. The dog and the foam bullets mixed together was the perfect tactical action to take in regard to solving the situation. The man simply had a couple bite wounds, maybe had some bruising from the foam bullets if they actually hit him, and he's alive, and we can get him help and treatment, and hopefully do something with this man to change his life. I don't know if that's going to happen, but again, we can all hope that that's the end, the outcome of what happens with this man. So there you go. I hope that was helpful. Again, later on this afternoon, we'll be talking about detection dogs and this training question that came up in the Super Secret Bed Bug Detection Dog Facebook page. All right. So I will see you at the next one. Thanks again for watching and appreciate your time in watching this video. Share and like and subscribe so that you can get notified whenever we come on live. All right. That is it. I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.